Gentlemen, we have called you together to inform you that we are going to overthrow the United States government. Do you still think that jet fuel brought down the World Trade Center?
I didn't have any guests scheduled today because I wanted to cover news, but then I saw the big PR rollout that, you know what, organic food, you don't need it. McDonald's, you do. Hey, the difference between, you know, an organic food and a McDonald's is the same thing. The difference between a McDonald's cheeseburger and an organic cheeseburger is no difference, except the fine print says pesticide, GMO, and hormones. But I just say, you know, and never mind the fine print of the study. The government really cares about you. That's why they put fluoride in the water for you. And the GMO sterilizes and causes organ failure in all the mammals they feed it to in all the major studies. It's not a big deal, though, because the vitamins, they say, are the same. Yeah, but how are they structured? How are they laid out? What are the ring structures? You see, so we're going to be going over that if he's able to pop in. If not, I'm going to be covering that. Wow. In fact, if you're watching on pacman.pt.vu, look at the stacks here. And I never even scratched the surface of these. That's why it's important to visit Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, and all the sites. But I'm going to start my engines, and I'm going to try to come in here and race through at least the headlines and then dig down deeper into it. I'm going to try to get Tyrell Ventura to pop in for about 5 minutes today as well. We got Jesse on next week. It says on the conspiracy theory website there on True TV that show has, that they will air the new episodes. They kind of took them away, though, from the production house, and so who knows what's been done with it, because they've been editing it for close to a year. So bite your fingernails with that. Who knows what True TV is going to do with this? You know, remember Homeland Security came down and tried to shut down the last season. Okay, let me, just to do it justice here on this very important transmission, lay out for new listeners briefly what we stand for. There has always been a fight throughout history between the forces of good and the forces of evil. It really boils down to that. But evil has always been defeated long-term by good, and so corruption, despotism, oppression, thuggish behavior, bullying, wickedness has learned to camouflage its activities in a package of good, in a covering of good. But the globalists themselves that run this globe have written thousands of books and publications bragging about their plan and talking about how stupid you are. But those are academic level and trade publications and military publications and congressional publications and think tank publications, and they brag that you are stupid and helpless, like sheep. You can't revolt against the practice of eating mutton, as one of their top minds said. And so they communicate in your face like vampires at your front door going, yeah, I'm knocking on their door. Yeah, they're going to open it, and I'm going to tell them I'm a vampire, but they're not going to understand it. And they open the door, and they go, hi, I'm a vampire. They're like, oh, well, I don't believe in those. Well, here, invite me in. We're here warning you that government's the most dangerous thing in history. We're here warning you, repeating what the Founding Fathers said, who were great minds and philosophers, and also quite brave. We're here seeing the same thing unfold again, but with a nightmarish high-tech overlay. The greatest crime of the globalists is that they want to play God, and they enjoy pulling down the existing order, which is very wholesome and very good. They are attacking the family. They are attacking the very biological and genetic nature of humanity. Because with the globalist, it's a race to see who is the most bold, who is the most bravada, hubris, chutzpah driven. And it is a program of madness. There is a method to the madness. It appears to be insane on the surface. Then when you see their actual policy reports, it makes sense. But it still comes from a place of insanity and deeply, twisted nature. And so it is insane within its full spectrum. The individual individuals running our society and our world do not have our best interest at heart and want to take us, in their own words, to a very, very dark place. They believe in social Darwinism to their absolute core. It is their religion. And social Darwinism is an idea adopted by the royalty and robber barons of Europe and the United States by the 1870s into 1900 or so, adopted worldwide in the industrialized world by the 1940s. It went underground after the bad experience of Hitler, who was a variant of it, but race-specific. This is not race-specific. This is a general, coordinated attack on all of humanity. The globalists believe that they are introducing the danger stimuli that humans are lacking in an industrialized society. And so out of everything they're releasing and the very threat of destroying the earth, that the Superman will rise. They believe they are that Superman, and they say in their own philosophy, we quote top global leaders in my film Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, that they will either become God or die trying, destroying the earth and solar system in the process. So that's where we stand. And once you understand this, you know what? You're not so much into football anymore. Once you understand this, you're not so much into your neighbors thinking you're really cool. I mean, sure, it's great to be friends with the neighbors, but you don't care if they hate you. You know what I mean? Once you realize that humanity has two roads to go down, absolute, incredible things that we can't even imagine, and our species developing into something just unspeakably wonderful. The eye has not seen, ear has not heard, but God has in store for us. Or the road the transhumanist, a.k.a. neo-eugenicist, are taking us down. And I don't mean the transhumanism you see on the news or in pop culture that's real cool and fun. I mean the real thing they're building. Because the transhumanism and the technology we're being given is all a trapdoor, bear trap, sabotaged, Trojan horse, roaches go in, they don't go out, Judas goat, kill grid. Listen, you need to understand that the people we're dealing with are highly intelligent. On average, they have about 180 IQs. And you have to understand that when I was a child, I would read the piles of nonfiction and fiction books that my parents, absolute book-addicted people, were reading. And I noticed that when I was reading in science fiction books, I'd actually read in history books. It was just a history book written in a future context. And so by the time I was 10 years old, I'd read the Isaac Asimov Foundation series. And then I read transhumanist books by Aldous Huxley and Julian Huxley by the time I was about 13. And I was like, wait, these science fiction books are actually just a fictional write-up of what they're actually planning. And then so when I was reading Mein Kampf by Hitler, or I was reading Scherer's Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, or I was trying to read Gibbon's Rise and Decline of the Roman Empire at 15, or listening to it on books on tape. That's what I really started doing, was with a cassette tape, lifting weights and listening to it. And the point is that then I inadvertently stumbled in to what the intelligentsia were actually planning. And so from that perspective, because I broke into things that they were talking about and operating in as if we were blind and deaf and didn't see it or hear it. That's how I knew when Google was first set up 13 years ago. I went and looked it up and found out it was set up with NSA and CIA public funding. It wasn't a secret. It's just they knew you wouldn't look. Plus, everybody knows the CIA doesn't do that. Everybody knows the NSA doesn't listen to you without warrants. That would be a police state, wouldn't it? And so I read all of that. And I read the Foundation series, and then I found out that Isaac Asimov and his rules for synthetic machines, robots, he coined that term. I learned all of that actually had come out of the intelligentsia in New York and in different areas of Europe, and that they understood humans could basically build whatever we envisioned. And so he said in the, when did he write the Foundation series? In the 40s? Was it in the 30s? And they have machines and computers off mass movement data pickup that can predict the future. And then DARPA actually built it and has named a lot of it. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I can say, I bet they've named this after the Foundation series. And I go look it up, and there's a 1975 program by DARPA, and even mentioning Isaac Asimov to envision it, and then they build it. I mean, I can now think, because our brains are supercomputers as well, oh, they're doing this, and then go look it up, and what I just out of the ether knew they were doing, they're doing. I mean, folks, that is a great gift, but it's also an absolute stream of data that you can't even control or even try to fully comprehend it. When you understand, ladies and gentlemen, when did they write the Isaac Asimov Foundation series? Okay, started writing them in 51. So I guess he wrote some of the other series earlier. The point is that you read that and then you realize it's all like a fictional account, futuristic war game of what they're actually projecting are the type of things they're going to face. They even faced in there in later series like idiot savants who were able to counter them with just, you know, their own electromagnetic, electrochemical systems. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, the point is that Google now admits that they're government run and that they're predicting the future, but not just predicting it, shaping the future. And they're using all of this data to not just, again, predict the future, but to shape it. And then you find out it's not even being done to empower humanity. It's being done to hurt us. And it's being done to keep us back, to prepare us, to put us into a trance state, a jellyfish state, for orderly extermination. And then the globalists say, but yeah, look, we've told you all this, and look at the police. They're going to serve a system meant to destroy them. They deserve it. So you should join us, is the argument. I mean, it's unbelievably evil. But then that's a lie. Those joining the dark side don't even get the power. Yeah, and I had said 52 because that was the number they gave me. The Foundation series actually got published in 42, or the first parts of it, in Astounding Science Fiction magazine. But it was really like a little soft-cover pulp fiction books that came out. The reason I know that is that's what I was reading. My dad had boxes after boxes of those. And I would read about computers that predicted the future off of mass movements and little chips and everything that tracked everything you were doing, and all your appliances tracked by the central computers, and one-child policies and eugenics. And, well, Aldous Huxley, who wrote Brave New World in 1931, published in 32. Mr. Huxley, he actually bragged before he died in 62. I've talked about this 100 times. At Berkeley, you can hear the audio of the speech online. It's about an hour long. That, oh, my brother, you know, he works at the UN. He's the head of UNESCO. By the way, this is our plan. We're going to grow UN tanks, and we're going to end the family, and we're going to drug everyone, and we're going to establish a world government, and there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. 1931, wrote a book about suboid humans and genetic engineering, and, you know, first sterilizing us. How they get you to the point of Brave New World is by putting chemicals in the food and water that weaken the society. The society goes into crisis, runs to the government for help. The government runs all the mitigation programs to help counter the increased cancer and the infertility and the neurological disorders and all of it. And then they give you treatments that actually suck the money out of you, control you, while posing as the savior. And you read this stuff, in transhumanist publications from the 50s. That's when they set that up out of eugenics. And Aldous Huxley's brother, Julian Huxley, bragged. He was the head of the Eugenics World Society. He said, we're now going to call it transhumanism. Then I get transhumanists sending me messages saying, how dare you say we come from eugenics?